Hi everyone, and welcome back to another cryptic crossword walkthrough. Today we're going to be looking at The Guardian's Everyman crossword number 3844. This is a puzzle that we already solved earlier. Really enjoyed it. I think it's quite an interesting one, some nice clues in there. So hopefully it's helpful to talk through exactly how we got those. Right, let's start with 8 across.
Well, that's indifferent. If something is indifferent, it is so. And another word for so is well, which you have twice.
Lovely. Okay, next one we got was 1 down. Risky opening with backgammon piece. Well, a word that means opening is door, and a backgammon piece is a die. And put that together and you get do or die, which is a risky opening. Right, I think 2 down.
Yeah. Not a soul with energy after midday. The answer is no one, meaning not a soul. So you've got midday here being noon, after which you have E for energy.
Yeah, quite often in these crosswords, energy is just the letter E. Okay, 1 across. Dear Dandelion, unusual Victorian novel. Well, quite often when you have the word unusual, that means there's going to be an anagram. So if you take the letters from Dear Dandelion, then you can create Daniel Deronda, which is a Victorian novel by George Eliot.
Yeah. Great. Artist joy mostly rising about cobalt. So the artist here and the meaning of the clue is El Greco. You have joy mostly, which is glee, which is rising, so it's going backwards, and you've just chopped that E off because you've got most of the word. And then about is re, and then you have the periodic symbol, the symbol in the periodic table for cobalt, which is CO.
Great. Okay, right, we've got lots of letters here. Stick commercial in this place. Well, stick, another word that means stick is adhere. Commercial very often is just add, and then in this place here. Okay.
Sucks it up again, uneasily, sore with barbs. So if it sucks something up again, it reabsorbs. Uneasily is the anagrind, which signifies that you're going to shuffle the letters in saw and barbs, and that gives you reabsorbs.
Very nice. Okay, well, we've got the 2 first letters of 4 down. As a product of Smith & Wesson might be. Well, if you know Smith & Wesson, that's a famous gun manufacturer. So something that fits quite nicely with those 2 letters would be double-barreled. And as far as I can see, there's not much wordplay going on here. It's just a pretty straight up definition.
Yeah, maybe there's more to it, but I think that sums it up nicely.
Yep, their products could be double-barreled. Okay, 9 across.
Irascibility shown by US soldier eating steak on headland. Okay, so we got some help from a viewer from a previous week. He told us that a headland was a ness, which helps fill in this last bit. Irascibility is grumpiness overall, so that's the definition. So US soldier is a GI, and inside it's eating steak, which is a rump. You can get a rump steak, and then it's on top of this word ness.
Yeah, so shout out to Francis Smedley. Thank you very much for posting about the ness in the comments a couple of weeks ago. Right, regret sports lesson having torn around. To regret is to repent, and sports lesson, PE, in the middle there, and having a word that means torn around that, and in this case it is rent. Okay. Should we do this one?
Yeah. Unveiling, not very excitedly, some pasta. Some pasta is linguine. And it's actually an anagram of unveiling, excitedly being the anagram, but without the V in the middle because you're taking out the not very.
Very nice. Okay, so 6 down. Granny gets food, eating trout for starters, somewhere in Massachusetts. Well, we've got Granny at the start there, and with those letters we can see probably it's going to be Nan. And then gets food. Well, in this case, food is tuck. Eating trout for starters, first 2 letters of those, E-T, and you get Nantucket, which is a place in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 down.
I think this is one of the most straightforward clues we have today. Cab scene, unusually, it's a scarcity. A scarcity signifies absence. Cab scene, unusually signifies you shuffle those letters around to get absence.
Very nice. Okay, 14 across. Heavens, they say, a Scottish isle. Well, the they say means this is a sounds like clue. So a word that means heavens could be sky, S-K-Y, and sounds like means the answer is actually what's the word? Homophone? Synonym?
It's a homophone.
Homophone, yeah, of that sky.
Perfect.
Right, should we do this one now?
I'll let you do that one because
Should we save that one?
You're a big fan of that one.
I like that one. Yeah, okay, let's get a few more letters for that first though.
Well, you like that one as well.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll do this one. 13 down. Invest in figurative painter that might come from Tamworth. Well, a word that means invest is back, and then a famous figurative painter is Bacon, as in Francis Bacon, and that might come from Tamworth. Well, at first we thought, well, back Bacon, that could come from any kind of English village, so why pick Tamworth in particular? So did a little reading up on this after getting it and found out that the Tamworth pig is quite a famous sort of breed of pig. It's an old breed of pig that a lot of modern pigs kind of come from. So yeah, Tamworth's obviously famous for its bacon.
Yes, fire axe. There are multiple meanings to the word fire, obviously the most obvious being flames, but here it's actually used in the context of to fire somebody, which could also be to sack, and axe you can also sack in the same meaning of that word.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Let's do this one, okay. 15 down. Struggled with piano replacing Latin quintet in bands. Well, the answer is...
Striped.
Oh, sorry. Is striped. And how do we get to this? Well, a word that means struggled is strived. And then if you have a piano replacing Latin quintet, what that's referring to is piano can be abbreviated to the letter P. A Latin quintet could be the letter V. So if you take the V out of strived and put in a P, then you get striped, which means bands.
Quintet being the Roman numeral, that's why you're using the V there. It's for 5. Okay, writer not beginning to describe capture in game. This answer is a game called cribbage. And how do you get there? So a writer not beginning is a scribe with the S taken off. And you have bag in the middle here, which is another word for capture. In a game you might bag something. And I think, why have we got the word describe there?
Well, I've noticed that they quite often use describe to mean going around. So the scribe is going around the word for capture, which is bag. So the E at the end is the E from scribe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got a primarily clue. So primarily clues often mean just take the first letters of subsequent words, and if we do that here we get safari. And also the clue is talking about African fauna, a judge, really irritating, so it's talking about a safari.
exhibitions, ones that impart finer vision. So this is a double definition because exhibitions are spectacles and so are glasses, which impart finer vision.
Lovely. Okay, small dog, brown perhaps, conked out in French mountain. Well, it's helpful if you know your types of dog to be able to get this one, because the answer is a dog. But you can work it out from the wordplay. So, brown perhaps, well, that's actually Dan, as in the author, Dan Brown. Then conked out, died in French mountain, in Mont, which is the French for mountain. And a dandy dinmont is a type of dog. This one?
Yes, oddly claim heroes a small role. So a small role is a cameo. And oddly means that you take the odd letters. So that would be 1, 3, 5, corresponding to the odd numbers. And if you do that from claim heroes, you do get cameo.
Okay. Recalled Michelangelo mixing a little spot of pigment. Well, recalled here is referring to going backwards, and Michelangelo mixing a little means take a small part of those words and take it and going backwards. We can take out the M-O-L-E to get the word the mole, which is a spot of pigment.
Mm-hmm. So start of mixing, end of Michelangelo there. On location for filming, attended fictional court. A fictional court is Camelot. A location for filming can be a lot. And on top of that, you have a word for attended, which is came.
Yeah. Okay. Heartless orc in Longbook, not present day. So heartless orc. Heartless often means take out the centre of a word. So if we take the centre out, we can have OC. So we can put that in. A long book, a word that means that is a tome. And then altogether, to come is a time that's not the present day.
We were thinking a long time about past events, and then it's actually
future to come.
In the future. Scratching head, prejudiced craftsman. I really like this one. If you're prejudiced, you're partisan. If you scratch the head off that word, you get artisan, and an artisan is a type of craftsman.
Lovely. Okay, last one. 16 across. I think this was actually my favourite clue in the crossword, although I think it would be tricky to get if you weren't familiar with Robin Hood. So the answer is Friar Tuck. And interestingly, in this case we have a clue where the whole clue is wordplay leading to the answer, and also the whole clue is a description of the answer. So in terms of the wordplay, we've got fat, warrior at heart, criminal. Well, at heart again means take the central letters. So this time from warrior, you take the R-R-I, and then if you also take the letters from fat, and then you mix those letters around, criminal signifying that you want to have an anagram of those letters, then you get the friar T. Then a little celebrated is taking the word celebrated, making it smaller. It's just the letter C, and then in this country, inside the UK. So that's how all the wordplay works. And then if you're familiar with Robin Hood, you know that Friar Tuck is a fat character who's quite courageous. He's helping out the band of Robin Hood's merry men who are obviously stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, so they're criminals, and they're kind of celebrated in this country. It's obviously a popular tale. So yeah, pretty clever clue, I thought. And yeah, good crossword.
One of my favourites.
Great. So see you next week.
Thanks a lot.